Thank you very much, Nana. Before I go into this, permit me just a second to express some warm anniversary celebrations to my Rotary team. I'm a Rotarian, and yesterday marked 121 years of Rotary International.
Oh, wow.
And it's 121 years of doing good and serving our communities. So it's important that I give a shout out to my people in Rotary, particularly our district governor, Nana Yasribo. Now, back to the issue. I first of all want to express some sympathies, and my heart goes out to the student, the victim of this violent behavior, and particularly to the family. That, I mean, one of the painful things in life is to see your child in that particular state. I mean, this is your child that you may not even beat in this particular manner. And you see his colleagues, his peers, who are supposed to protect him, defend him against other people, now be the ones to turn against him and then behave in this manner. It appears as a country we have not properly managed our moral upbringings very well. I mean, we saw what happened to Major Mahama. And the way the whole country condemned it and everyone spoke about it. It sometimes surprised me that in less than 5 years, you are finding similar behavior in pockets of behavior in certain parts of our community, and it's worrying. It's worrying and brings the issue of what you just asked, whether are we failing? See, 3 major institutions for me are the moral institutions. 1, family. 2, our churches, then our schools. I mean, by the time your child gets to secondary school, you, the parent, would have contributed about 15 years of raising that child.
True.
So you can't entirely blame the secondary school for not having done enough. You, the parents, you hold the responsibility to also bring your child in a particular manner.
True.
Our churches becomes the platform for instilling love, care, respect for each other. What has happened to us? See, we can tell for sure that there has been several churches springing out in almost every corner of this country. Why is it not translating in the way we conduct ourselves? From the way we handle issues of corruption, our life in public sector, our conduct in public and all that. Today, there is more and more increase in immorality than it was.
Well, we're not preaching morality anymore. We're doing prosperity gospel.
Exactly. So it appears that the institutions, the moral institutions, are shifting away from their core.
Add Muslims to it, because they too have.
Oh, no, I say religious institutions. So I didn't limit it to just the church. Of course, very well. You're right. So the Islamic institutions also equally have, and of course we've seen deteriorating the effect in the Zongos and some Muslim communities. So it's across board.
Across board.
So we've had that issue, and I think that as an issue we need to sit back and ask ourselves, what are we doing wrong? And I would even go further to say that as families, we as parents, we are also failing the next generation. If our fathers, our mothers were able to raise us to this level and become who we are, and we can't raise our children to become better, then my generation and the generation just after me are failing the next generation. And we need to sit back and then do a good job. I mean, yes, we would hold institutions like GES, Ghana Police responsible for, because they enforce the policies, they enforce the punishment and all that. But as parents, we also have a responsibility. Where is the love? I mean, think about it carefully, that inter-schools programs are not just organized for harnessing, discovering new talents, but also building relationships. I remember very well that to date, I still have friends in Accra Academy. I still have friends in Accra High, Achimota School, that we met only at the stadium. Casually exchange pleasantries, and then from time where we become friends and we meet in other circles. That is the essence of the inter-school. It is to build friendship. It's to build that peaceful coexistence. Understand beyond the sport, beyond everything, understand that we are together. And you can't, no matter how the rivalry should be on the field. Let your school's ability to win a sports event, to win a match, to run the race, jump higher, show. And I mean, you in the past we used to have Jama songs that would just use that to perhaps excite ourselves and maybe go against other schools.
Good old days.
Understand? We don't get to the extent of exchanging blows and beating each other. Well, there were a few pockets of that, but not to the extent of what we are seeing. And we really need to set up. I mean, we have seen in the past where some student had the guts of sitting before a camera, insulting adults, and we did not see punishment going down very well. And some of these things have set bad examples for some of them to repeat them. If we enforce it, and I'll say this for sure, see, these students should be treated as offenders, as persons who have committed an offense, and not as ordinary students who are involved in school clashes. No. When the police, and I like what the CID boss said.
Some of your colleagues, lawyers, who argue against
no, they should be entitled to legal representation. And the lawyer, of course, you are a lawyer. You have to do your job professionally. Your job as a defense lawyer is to find how you can defend your client. That is your job. Otherwise, then what's your training? You must do your job. But the person who sits and preside over the matter, which is the judge, has the final say. I mean, we saw what happened in Koforia. I mean, 3 students went on the same thing. Eventually, they were handed some fines. And then someone in the community volunteered to pay the fines on their behalf. Thinking that he is saving the situation, he has rather unfortunately caused harm to these persons. Because you see, he will be seen as a hero, a savior of the children. But in effect, he has let loose some dangerous students, dangerous young men onto the streets. If we had included in their punishment some community work, they are seen sweeping the market centers for the next 3 months, and they're seen, they will be a bad example for anybody wanting to be like them. But unfortunately, you will find behind the scenes people praising them as, hey, these guys are hard guys, this guy be hard guy. This is wrong. We should condemn it. We should condemn it in all uncertain terms and expect that GS will be as swift as possible. The police, fortunately, have been able to arrest 3 of the people. Sometimes I get to worry a bit when people are filming these things, but without the filming, we may not have seen
evidence
it.
Of
But I'm asking, what happened to the friends who were looking on? I saw one gentleman trying to intervene, and then he also got some few beatings here and there. And I think I applaud what he did. If a few other students have gotten involved, maybe you would have prevented it. But I'm calling on parents, I'm calling on church institutions, religious institutions, GES, educational institutions. Let's enforce the rules. See, we would do ourselves a great job if we ensure that the next generation to take over from us are well trained, are well brought up. We'll leave this country in safe hands. But if we continue this way, where we make interventions, and all those things, and we let go, we are slowly building to the lives of people the habits that would affect all of us. Why must we think that violence is a way to solve a problem? And some of these things are because we, as parents ourselves, are bad examples. You see someone suspected to have stolen, and then the next moment, everybody is beating the person. You see a little thing happening, and then violence is the next option. Slowly, we are teaching the students and the young ones that this is the example that they need to follow. I think it is wrong. We need to condemn it, and we expect that these students will be punished, and nobody should make an intervention for them. They should be properly punished, and the punishment should not be. And people shouldn't think that if you are below 18, you cannot go through the criminal process. We have the juvenile act. And it allows it. The only thing is that it helps to protect the young ones against regular sentencing. When you are going to put them in a cell, you have to put them in the youth correctional centers. And then the processes, for criminal processes, such that it is done held in camera so that they are not exposed, the identities are not exposed and all that. But in cases of this nature, the students should not be treated differently. They should be treated like any other person who has committed an offense, except that the juvenile act will apply, and let them face the full rigors of the law. Let them go through the process and maybe bad examples onto others. Because of them, the entire sports activity in the central region has been cancelled.
That is where I disagree.
Has been cancelled.
You see, it is not the fault of the athletes that these unfortunate incidents happened. And therefore, if you are punishing those who are seriously and disciplined and exploiting their God-given talent, exploring their God-given talent, why should that person be punished for the bad decision taken by other students?
I don't know what assessments the GS may have done,
it doesn't
but
sit
perhaps
well with me.
they've weighed the situation and are concerned about security going forward.
So if that's the case, can they organize the event in a closed door manner so that the real athletes
maybe
still compete?
Ban students from coming to cheer.
Yes.
but keep the athletes on the tracks.
It may not also be the best option to just ban students from coming to cheer their fellow students. I think that we should. This gives us an opportunity to implement certain measures. Why don't you have security systems to ensure that when students are having this thing, there are committees, even among the students themselves, there are leaders that you bring out, you sit with them and set out committees. I mean, you mentioned the issue of drinking bars in certain places open. Why don't we have people patrol those areas and shut down those bars? If you find students drinking or
owners should be punished.
Owners should be arrested. Students involved should be arrested.
I agree.
That is how other bars will close down during a period and will not serve alcohol to any person who is below 18. But if we allow it and we take it as it's okay, and then we just use a blanket punishment and say we are suspending. I mean, there may be some inside information that perhaps has guided GS into doing this, but this could be a temporary measure to allow them to be able to put in measures. But we expect that, learning from what has happened in other places, let's now begin to put in measures to prevent than to wait for this thing to happen, and then we are now coming up with some post-event activities. Let's see how we can come up with committees. We know that these things will be held. We know the calendar, the school calendar. So Ghana Police Service, GS, the schools come together, form a committee, get some students go out there. You'll be amazed to know that some schools have cadets.
Indeed,
who can be used as part of the same security to ensure that, listen, we don't do this. And let's see how we can still love. Let's just love each other. I mean, he's your colleague from another school. He's not your enemy. You have rivalry, which is healthy rivalry. There's nothing wrong with having healthy rivalry. I mean, Hasselfolk and Kotoko have had this rivalry for ages. And it is healthy. It promotes competition. But it does not mean go after each other. You can come out with songs that seem to excite each other and sing it to encourage your teams. But don't go against each other. Let's preach those things out there. And let the teachers themselves be an example. I agree with my brother when he says that teachers are now becoming sometimes bad example for our students. It's also because we have allowed standards to drop. I mean, in the past, when a person say he went to training college, he is so prim and proper. The way he writes, the way he dresses, the way he speaks in public will tell you. It's because they practically treat the training college students as though they are secondary school. How they cut their hair, how they, when they wake up, when they go, they are regimental treatments and eventually come out better. But unfortunately, we have relaxed certain rules. We have, and it is showing, clearly manifesting that these things are affecting how we do our job. Teachers must also sit up. You may want to excite your students by maybe dancing with them or doing those things to encourage them, motivate them, but know your limits. You understand? Just know the limits that sometimes you are losing that respect. Sometimes you are losing that control, that authority that you have been given to exert on the students. I mean, we don't expect students to fear their teachers, but they must fear authority. They must know that there's punishment for your actions. And for fear for punishment, people will sit up and not do things that they are doing now. I'm very disappointed in what the student did to their fellow colleague, who they're supposed to protect. I think it's condemnable.
On the punishment bit, we've taken out corporal punishment.
That's another sad part. But you see, corporal punishment is good and bad. I mean, we are product of corporal punishment. At our time, a teacher doesn't have an excuse to lash you. They will lash you. And you don't want to be lashed at assembly. You don't want to be lashed in presence of your peers. So you sit up. You understand? But we have come up with all these human rights issues, but we've forgotten to know that our settings are a bit different from the European settings. And so we just adopt some of these things and put them into our environment, and it turns out to be negative. I don't have anything wrong with corporal punishment. The only problem we've had is that some teachers also tend to abuse it.
So you should be measured in the application.
So it should be measured so that at least we don't have abuse. You don't want to send your child to school and comes back with physical bruises all over the place, and then you are left with scars that forever and ever will be traumatized. You can't even heal. So we must strike a balance. But I think we should have a clear policy on discipline in our secondary schools. Very clear policy, and expect teachers, headmasters, and all persons involved in the training of our youth to implement them.
Now, there's one advocacy that I want to talk about, that in all these there are victims, and I want to believe that there are provisions for these victims to be looked after in terms of
psychosocial support.
Yes, it is very important, especially the young ladies that has been subjected to these inhumane activities. Also, it will be unfair for a student to be like lynched, attacked by a mob, and all of a sudden you realize that the punishment given to these guys are just, you know, such that
paltry fines.
Paltry fines, and somebody will just come up and pay, and then you see them, because you are still in the school environment. You see that these are the people who attacked you. It leaves an indelible mark on you for life, and therefore I am advocating that the authorities should look into these victims, you know, give them the support that they need to be bigger and better persons in future. Because other than that, it's going to carry on and carry on and carry on. And also, I think that we should be role models. We should instill in our innate being that we are living to role models for the younger ones. We were talking about scaffolds. Everything must not end in violence. And even for us politicians, we have failed in a way, because there are times that you watch the biggest legislature and you see our honorables, honorables, you know, in face caps. So when people who are meant to be leaders, they are essentially automatically role models. When you see them involved in punching each other, subconsciously you think that perhaps that is the only way out to prove a point. And we are saying that every misunderstanding shouldn't end in violence, and we should all be role models for each other.
There's this pedestrian argument I've heard relating the rising in discipline in schools to the increase in number of students now.
That could be, but I don't think that should be a good reason to say we have failed. I mean, we know of the numbers. You see, for me, nothing is a surprise to us. By the time BEC exams are written and the results are out, we know the number of students who will BEC, we know the number of students who are going to go to schools. When the school headmasters receive their admissions and know the total number of students they've admitted, they know the numbers in the school. So if they need extra hands when they have event like this, they can call for help. I think it is poor planning and improper anticipation of events. If we had properly anticipated that, listen, some of these things, and we know that in some schools they generally have rivalry. They may be coming from two communities that have been having an outstanding rivalry from ages. And this rivalry sometimes not born out of any mischief or ill motive, but it's born out of fair competition in the past, where this school won, the next time this school won, and it is very healthy, it's very welcoming. The problem we have failed as administrators, as leaders, is that we have not been able to anticipate such events and put in measures. I mean, did you see any school security or police or anybody in the videos? No. It was students left on their own, to sort themselves out. And unfortunately, it led to this. So if we had planned well, the number of students will continue to increase. Our population is growing. New schools are being opened. First graduates are writing BEC every year, every now and then. So we know, let's sit back and plan well. When we have major events like As of Focus playing Kotoko, you see meetings of organizers with police putting in security measures. We learn from May 9th, we learn from other things. Why have we failed to learn from some of these things and plan properly? Do we even sit back to review the previous interzonal and what was some of the things that we need to do to improve it? Apart from the event itself, the surrounding activities, what do we need to improve it? How do we do it better? Do you understand? The sad part, or perhaps the funny part, is that I have seen some videos of some schools preparing for sports, and it's amazing how people jump and people and it tells you what is going on in our schools. But listen, let's be serious. I think that our administrators need to set up, and let's see that some of these things will not come up again. Let's have this behind us.
Very well. Let me take a few quick messages here. This one says, hooliganism among second cycle students is an ongoing issue that requires attention. Youthful exuberance is natural, but it's crucial we implement measures to curb such behavior. Tougher punishment for students involved in these incidents is a step in the right direction, especially in light of recent events. Let's focus on creating a safer environment for all students. Aminu from Insawam sent that one in. Good morning, Nana. The indiscipline in our schools is becoming worrying day in, day out. The so-called human and child rights activists should be partially blamed for such behaviors. It's time policymakers, educationists, church leaders, families, parents, and all stakeholders go back to our roots, to our societal and cultural values as a measure to shape the lives of our current generation. That's Kwejumafu Kwewu Jamase sending that one in. Good morning, Channel One. When a student has been made when a student has been made to be responsible from home or has been trained well from home, I don't think he or she will put up such a character, which is a challenge to the nation. I also think since parents are not paying anything as fees for commitments to the development of their wards, they don't put their children in check, and this is really something that should be looked at once again. A student who is coming from a well-trained home will not put up such a character that will put the name of the parents into this kind of irresponsible behavior. Free SHS is bringing a lot of irresponsible students that parents wouldn't love to even spend a CD on due to their character, but due to free SHS, we find them in our schools. Teachers are really doing it. So you see, I told you there was a pedestrian argument around.
If the person is educated and is still misbehaving, can you imagine if the person was not educated? It would have been worse.
I mean, let's move away from this. We have had even indiscipline issues when we're paying.
Exactly.
And so it cannot be born out of. We know that the numbers.
Charity begins at home.
Your child just went to school for a year, and you have raised that child for the last 15 years from class 1 all the way to JSS, and you want to blame someone for his behavior in the last 3 months. Come on, as a parent.
Right. Okay, a few more. Good morning to you all.